welcome. And this is an exciting evening. Anna and I don't get to be together too often anymore. And once I introduce you, you can understand why I'm excited about her being here with you, with me, and why it matters. Many, many years ago, when I first learned about coaching, it wasn't a popular thing. And now as I go around the world and I watch so many people, there are more coaches, I believe, than any other profession. And people are calling themselves coaches. They don't have formal training. But we here at Ideal Coaching, we decided we were going to be serious and train people in a particular way. So and welcome again, everyone. And just put in the chat where you're from. That people, I know got Malaysia, and I don't know where else you're from, but just put in the chat where you're from. And we will make this evening not entertaining for you, because this is how some people go into coaching. And you might be entertained, but we want you to have an opportunity to have presence with us so that we can be here together, see what we can learn together, and we'll go at it that way. But let me introduce you to Anna. This is Anna Escalante, and Anna lives in Mexico. And she's been here at Ideal Coaching for how many years, Anna?
25.
25 years. And just a quick story to show you how life unfolds. Anna came to the United States in Minnesota in the wintertime. It was very cold to be in the one of the first Ideal Coaching courses. And then she was more than liked. That's not what happens here. Something moves people. People are touched. And as they're moved and touched, Anna said, wow, this is something I want to do. And so we worked it out after she graduated. She brought me to Mexico. And then we brought her to the United States. This was before COVID, many years. And then after that, we continue to design, work together, to do courses together. And let me tell you a little bit about Anna, and then you can hear from her. Anna's an MCC. You'll find that in coaching. There's the AC. What's the other one, Anna?
PCC.
PCC, and the highest one is MCC, which is a master coach. And she's a psychologist. And even before she started coaching, she was a well-renowned psychologist there in Mexico. And she's a consultant, business consultant, and in organizational development. And she specializes in working with CEOs, senior executives, and leaders, as well as in life coaching processes. And she was the first Mexican master coach certified by the International Coaching Federation in Mexico. And she currently serves as president of Amati Solutions. She is the COO and head of coaching programs at Ideal Coaching and co-founder of Ideal Coaching Mexico. And she leads a network of master coaches that started in Latin America and Spain, and is now growing into a global community, which is quite amazing, a global community. She's also the co-founder and president of La Casa de la Sal, which is a nonprofit organization with over 40 years of social impact that has supported more than 950,000 people. And if we can get into that, but it's very, not just impressive, but her commitment to people. It shows up in what she does and how she does it. She's the author of several books, one including integrity, the language of possibility. And she has a program she's done with the prison system there. And so she's a woman that comes at this work with zest, with zeal, and most important, I'm going to say, is commitment. Commitment to people being human and bringing care in a world that sometimes looks as if it doesn't care. So Anna, thank you. And
You're welcome, Betty.
Yeah.
My absolute pleasure to be here with you. I correct myself. It's 21 years. 21 years together. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been great. And so tell us what anything that you want to cover tonight. And I know there's so much. You just got back from Spain, right? A few weeks ago. You went over there.
My resume, it was so beautifully presented. Thank you, Betty. And I'm so happy that I know almost all of the people that are here in this call. And I'm very blessed and happy to see you all and to have a beautiful conversation with you, Betty, and with all of us about coaching and why coaching is important, and just to reinforce our vocation to be a professional coach and to be grounded in practices and knowledge in ontology and language to really serve our client in the most deeper possible way.
Very good. So just so the people who are here, there's a particular kind of coaching that we have crafted together over the years. And it's ontology, mindfulness, and ecology. And we won't go into all of that tonight because it's a long conversation. And I'm finding out more and more every day how little I know about ontology, and also how we look at it is that we are biological beings. We have a body, and that we exist in language. We coexist in language with all the other species here on the planet, especially the human species. And awareness, mindful awareness, is a large part of the work that we teach. So Anna, tell me, as you look at us human beings, what do you say? What are you thinking about us human beings in today's world? If you look back 1,000 years ago, human beings were slightly different, huh? So what do you say about us human beings? Yes.
What a powerful question. And going you back on time, I'm getting fun on studying stars and quantum physics and just understanding what on earth are we doing here. And how is it possible that we have evolved into conscious beings? And if you think about in such big picture, 1,000 years, maybe the size of the universe, and the thousands and of billions of people, planets, galaxies, worlds. How is it that we are so fortunate to be the ones that are aware? And in that time frame, we're such as a speck of time of as humans race understanding what is life for, what is the universe is all about, and just to be able to talk about the universe in these ways in 13.8 billion light years of age, just the piece that we can see and all that. And and that's the big picture, and you go to the very small, the quantum world, it's also amazing. So how come just in our bodies, just our own body, it's such a miracle. It's such an incredible machine of knowledge and consciousness. How come you and me are alive today? And what is really happening in today's world? For me, there is a shift in the paradigm that we are understanding ourselves and the purpose of our lives. And there is like a tension between two paradigms that are hiding, I don't know how to say it, to survive or to dominate the world, the paradigm of separation, individualism, me, my power, my needs, and the other paradigm that we can also embrace, which is us, oneness, togetherness, purpose, and care. And so I think it is a very interesting time to be alive. And because we get to affect the result of what we as human race are choosing. We get to participate in the discussion, I will say, in the how do we want to see our future together. So
Yeah. And also our future, you have kids.
I have two.
Yeah, you have two. Pretty soon you'll be a grandma. I don't know. The kids aren't pregnant, but hopefully you'll be a grandma.
Almost there.
Yeah. But it's so interesting to me that are we living backwards or do we live forward? And that our lives then, we're asking the question, how am I living? Because we live through our language and our actions and what we generate. What am I generating?
Exactly. Because all the reality we're creating, it is through our conversations and our worldviews, our perceptions, what we privilege in terms of what we say is important, what we talk about, how we talk about it. And we, more than in any time, I will say we need to be conscious about how we use our language, because as we all know, our language creates and not only inside us, but within us, and it creates a narrative that then we live into, and then we forgot that we created.
And then we have blame or we have praise and all of that goes on. And this is something, and this is one of the distinctions that we make, or I make, between a distinction between self-help and transformation. If we're about self-help, you're trying to fix something about you. There is a transformation has to do with not fixing, but reformulating, reshaping who we say we are. So when we do coaching, and we use quite a few quotes in our coaching program from all over the world. But as soon as I become an I, like I'm Betty Sproul, that identity, my history, I'm there. And if I'm trying to fix anything from my history, I'm trying to fix an illusion. Yeah, but transformation is re-identifying, not as that, but the space, the opening in which an I can even occur. Is that?
That's so powerful, Betty, because we really live, and we wake up and we really feel an I, me, my own point of view, and it actually feels fixed. Is that right? I, the one that I have always been with my all my rituals and thoughts and thinking and all that. And but the importance of waking up twice, I always say, waking our bodies, which is and the self and the ego, and then waking ourselves, our souls, our consciousness, our observer, whatever you want to call it, that place where we meta observe, where we can connect with the source and live through that source in such way that new things get manifested. And this consciousness that you are, that we are, that we forget we are. When we wake up in the morning with our meditation practice, which can be 10 minutes, doesn't really have to be an hour, modifies the presence in such a way that you actually become alive and observe life in its beauty. I have a practice to very early in the morning, I walk into a park that is close by my house, and I can see how the level of my awakening in through how I walk that park. Sometimes I'm in a rush. Oh, my exercise didn't. Sometimes I'm super happy listening to music. Sometimes I'm just walking and observing the whole thing, and I see this liquidity in the consciousness of the waking up that is going to impact the rest of the day. And when I was listening to you and all this, when you age, there's so many things you do in life. There's so many stories you can tell, And when I was listening to you introducing to me, I was thinking, wow, I've been engaged in many stories, in many communities. And but the question is how am I participating or have been participating? What is because that's the real thing, no? The other thing is just the doingness, but what is your energy and my energy and our energy sustaining right now? What are we ready to commit to sustain? And long-term, the long-term commitment. I always say that it is very easy to start whatever. Let's start a program, let's start something, to do it 40 years, to do it 25 years, to be there, and deep your knowledge, your path into that with consciousness. I think that's a challenge, and we need to know what we love, to be alive in this time, so we can commit to that we love and become a presence for that on earth, now that the earth is and the human consciousness is changing so rapidly.
Yes, and we see that especially with AI and what's happening. AI is a large language model. It happens in language. And then we human beings, language is a house of our being for communication. And so AI is having an impact. It is, and we human beings have something to do with it. So, and we'll talk about this later, but I think it's, as I'm noticing and observing myself, Anna, and what we advocate very strongly in our course is presence, to be present. It's very hard to be present with, things going like this. I got this, I'm busy. I got this, there, all the time, all over the place. So how can we be present? And what does it mean? And it's like when you and I connect, and I notice this with myself when I'm not connecting with you, I go someplace. I get my busy mind, or I go,
Mm,
and I have all these things I say to myself, and then I go, okay, come back,
mm,
be still, be present,
mm.
and then bring presence. And I'm pretty sure you've seen this with some of your clients. When you're present, there's a shift, something happens.
There is a shift. That happens also with to me with you. And because as we talk about consciousness and our evolution, I am completely sure that it comes in our togetherness and the building of intimacy and the building of not communities like that big communities, but these inner circles where we live our lives with, and cultivation of those, and then going to the communities and create this other presence and dialogues. It's what nurtures our soul and also nurtures life. And I noticed when I went to Europe, I went to Europe for a month to visit my daughters and in Spain. For some reason, I decided not to buy the internet, international internet. So I was really out of my phone for a month. Just when I came home and I can check some messages. I am telling you, it was a transformative experience. Just to be able to walk, just walking, talk and talking, presence, my daughters or whatever the food in without interruption of so many information that we don't need, to tell you the truth, at least I don't need, that not necessarily adds to the legacy or the presence in that we are. And I think in that sense, we need to be very mindful so we can defend our our time where we're not connected to anything. Really cooking, just cooking, even with the old-fashioned music, if you want, or nothingness, just the silence of the rain or whatever is happening. And it sounds poetic, but it's really important for presencing. And for me, presence has two levels. This word has two ways of understanding. One is here and now. I am completely here and completely now, nowhere else. Well, the other part is presence, the presence of yourself, of your own, of your whatever you want to call it, higher self, consciousness, divinity, your presence in yourself, and you bring that into the conversations, into the communities, into the relation, into coaching, into the relatedness that you are. So it's not only about being here, but it's really bringing into the space that who you are. So you can be a presence in this world in this way.
Yeah, it's like when you're with someone and it's I see you. And it's a big
I
deal.
see you.
I see you. I hear you, and to be totally there. And you've
Yeah.
seen this with your clients, and I've seen it with mine, and many of my clients, later on they say, I felt seen, I felt heard. They didn't know when we first got started, but if you can listen, because a large part of our work is teaching people how to listen. Listen, they're listening, and all the chatter that goes on all the time. And like when you say something, how can I take this here? Or how can I control? How can I dominate? The words don't say that, but there's something about us, unless we can be intimate, that we can merge. It's almost like because when I merge with you, something that I think is me disappears, and that can be what, frightening, could be. So you and I have an example. You come from an entirely different culture, not so different, but I would always love going to Mexico with you because I didn't have to be Betty Sproul, the Betty Sproul I am here, that I was the Betty Sproul in Mexico. And so with coaching, I'm beginning to see people get to breathe, relax into this consciousness, this being that you're speaking about.
Yeah. And for me, what I see with my practice and my clients is that when you become that presence for them, you really become an asset for their lives.
Yes.
A place where they stand and they can transform and they can hear themselves in such a way that they get to choose not only to live in automatic pilot or the chatter, da, 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 but just to listen peacefully, not so peacefully sometimes, to themselves, to themselves, and maybe laugh, have a good laugh about whatever is happening, and then realize, you throughout the years, Betty has been talking about care in a way that always touches me because, I am aging, but my favorite people, some of my favorite people in the world are also aging. And so I see the fragility, the vulnerability of life through the process of the natural past of time in my loved ones. And I see myself very moved in my heart for the caring of the ones that have cared for me.
Yeah.
And it's very moving when you live from that place, so you're giving, you're listening, that it is transformed from the space of gratitude and the space of loving care. And that also transform us, So I have a new mantra now that came from me in a meditation that I'm practicing every time I feel, whatever, anxious or whatever. And it's a mantra that says, don't separate yourself. Do not separate yourself. And so when I think about my daughters living abroad and that I miss them, then immediately I say, oh, stop separating yourselves. They are here in your heart. Send them love. It's quantum. When I feel angry about something, don't separate yourself. That person is yourself. It's you expressing consciousness in another body. And it is like a dance that has moved my heart deeply because it creates caring in a very profound way, Betty. But that requires presence. That requires that I need to be more quiet, to choose my commitments carefully, so I don't lose myself in the activities, in the running around, but to be able to be where I am without worries, but with presence. So I think that's what we're all called. This time is calling us because there's so much fear, Betty.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the bomb, the this, the that, the invasion, the war, whatever it is, all these things. And how can we cultivate peace in ourselves if it is not through care, even for ourselves?
Yeah, and this is care. So this is what I say about AI.
Mm,
It's AI cannot care.
yeah.
It does not care. And and we human beings are the only one who can bring care into this, what's being developed with AI. Because without care, it simply becomes a weapon.
It does.
And some people will use it as a weapon. Some people, many people will just step outside and let AI take over. This is so funny. Was talking to an AI agent on Zoom yesterday, and she was ta 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 ta. So it was a she. I call her she. She's a female,
Mhm.
and I said, "May I speak to a human being?" And so she stopped, and so I kept talking to her. I said, "No, I want to speak to," and I caught myself. I started another human being. So just in that dialogue, I'm making her a human being, right? But I didn't want. I want to keep it separate. May I speak to a human being because human beings care. And like when you were talking about aging, you're talking about dying. AI is not sitting around thinking, I don't believe, unless we program it that way, thinking about its death. Well, what happens with care and with us human beings, there is something that we know at some moment in time, we'll take our last breath here. And this, on this planet, in this way. And so it brings a different kind of feeling, a presence to living life as if it matters right now, in this moment, like you with you and your daughters. And Anna has beautiful daughters, beautiful mom, beautiful family. They took such good care of me when I go to Mexico. But it's that kind of care. And with the not living as if it's going to end, but we know that it's going to end. So, what does it mean to care? And what does it mean to bring presence?
Because Betty, just to add on what you're saying, we have it's just a very limited little time in the sense of the speck of humanity and the generations that will come so we really have a responsibility for for enjoy life, for being present and when I was young I was very much into the creating a legacy and creating a Casa de la Sala and all these people and the other thing is I said to myself that I have this founder energy, just go
Mm.
okay and something is shifting in me that it is more going more into the relationship by once at a time. So instead of quantity, it is going in more into in-depth quality. And that shift, puts me in a perspective, what is really important. And of course, to be at service to the most people that we can and to ease pain and suffering to the more people that we can, and just because of care and love. That's what occurs in my heart, and that's what I create these things. But then the activity and all that, I got a little lost in terms of the activism, doingness. And so now I'm sustaining those, all these projects, but in a different place. Because as you were saying, there is just these few years, that we're alive. Am I enjoying my meal? Am I whatever
You're
it is? This
walk in the park. Are you even
right.
seeing the
Or
trees, or listening to the birds, or
just being here completely vulnerable and honest and having this beautiful conversation with you and all of us on what is life calling us to do. And there is different moments in our lives that lives call us into different directions, and our consciousness takes us to different places, into different trips and different moments. And I think that part of listening to ourselves and waking ourselves twice every morning is that what am I gonna be called upon today? No.
you talked about listening, and it really is important that we listening. You listen to all the chatter that goes on, and then our listening can disclose to us what we're caring about. Am I, and it pulls us. And what world are we designing? Right. So, and how are we designing those worlds? What's the quality? What will be the quality of those worlds? And, when I go in the supermarket and there's someone in there waiting on me at the supermarket, I am shaping their world just by being there with them in that moment.
Exactly. I've seen you going into an elevator, Betty's Brewery, and in just 5 seconds, how many seconds? 10 seconds from going from one place to the other, making a girl laugh. Uh, uh, like it once, I was in an elevator in Los Angeles with Betty, and then this super tall, handsome black man came into the elevator, get in, and then Betty turned around and said, "How on earth you are so handsome? You become so handsome." And this man was laughing, and I am telling you, these are the moments where these little shifts, but you have to be there, completely
Yes.
there, in my view, to see the handsomeness of this beautiful man, and to be able to be vulnerable enough to connect without barriers, without separations, to have a good laugh, and to compliment from that beautiful man to a little girl, that I also saw you joking about her sandals. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ross Gardner, excuse me, I see as a message. It's good to see you here. Thank you. And we should talk soon. Maybe you can come to something that we're offering on Saturday. Send me an email. Okay. Royce, just say a little bit about Royce and how connections and relationships work. I met Royce back in 77, 78. I think it was like that. Wonderful presence, wonderful man. And yeah, so that's 77. So these connections, and I want to say this, Anna, I try to stay away from Facebook, because when I go through Facebook, I see all the people I've met from all over the world, many of them. And I think some of them, many people don't use Facebook, but at one moment in time, there was a connection. And this is, with technology now, there's almost a thought like, oh, I don't have to pay attention now because I'll see them on Facebook. But it's not the same as I see you, I hear you, and sharing a life. And so I'm thinking, as I look at it, how we've got to, and I said, we must learn to connect and come off of speed with our lives. At some time during the day, some moments, not be on speed. We just go past people like this, or we don't smile, we don't connect, it's not there. And it's showing up in our kids, our grandkids.
It's showing up.
It's showing up.
And you know, I think what we actually need, all of us, that we like a general, not need, but maybe purpose is to love and to be loved. How are you going to do that if you are not seeing me, your presence in my, just in this noise, information plus information plus information. Before it was just the TV, you know, turning it on and then the noise in the house, no? But now it's more heavier information that is feeding to us with a algorithm that we tend to listen what
Yes.
we actually think. So there's not enrichment and diversity as it was before. So going back to your seminar on AI, I think it is very important that we understand and use AI. I use it all the time, almost
Yes.
every day. I have a conversation, I request stuff, and I use it as a tool to get what I need to be done with needs to be done with my clients and whatever, or to get information. But we need to be careful so we actually can think and analyze by ourselves, because it is important. I'm writing a chapter in a book about AI, and there was this question that I asked myself: what is it that AI can do and cannot do? And so my answer, and I asked that to the AI: what is that you can do and you cannot do in coaching? And then she said, well, I cannot generate the question. So everything before the answer can be done by AI. And I cannot analyze and decide what to do with my answer. That is up to you, humans. Huh? I love that, because I think that is true. If we identify ourselves with everything that AI gave us, we stop to think, we stop to be the presence or the observer that requires our gift to be humans, not to reflect, to see ourselves. That's why I say human beings are the ones that are conscious, that are conscious. It's a double loop there that I think it is important to distinguish.
This is very good, Anna. I just had a thought. At one moment in time, we lived as if everything was God. The trees, the flowers, in some cultures, they still live that way. It's to be honored, it's to be respected. If we make AI this God that's out there someplace, we don't pull ourselves forward. We can't be there forward with responsibility and care. And so, what is it to live as if you have everything that you are right now? And this is something that can assist you, but it can't take you over and run you unless you give it that agency. Yeah. I see a question.
Why can't AI teach us to care? Can we give it its choice? Let me read it. It's interesting. Why can't AI teach us to care? Can we give it our definition of care and allow it to give us prompts on what it is and ways to express it? Absolutely, because AI is a pattern analyzer, and with whatever you feed, it will give back to you. The deep feeling of or the presence that you bring forth in your relationships when you are there, and the caring, the actual doing, the actual being with my mom, just there. It can be done by a machine. You know, it can teach us, yes, can give us answers to, so the practice will come to us. Betty wanted to start with the violin because I used to be a violinist and play a lot of time my violin. And the truth is that I can ask AI to do whatever with it, but it won't teach me unless I practice my violin for hours on ending. I can tell you that until there is some sound coming out of that violin. And I think that's an interesting question that Joyce asked, you know. It will give us some tools, techniques, suggestions, whatever. But the ones that are going to be practicing those are us, and making it alive is us. If we think about a tree, Betty, just one tree, and you really study what is a tree from the cell to the evolution of tree, to the connections of the roots, to the colors, to how it transforms, how it nurtures light into and transforms a dioxide of carbon to oxygen. Just that little thing that we see every day. It is so amazing. And I think being able to be in awe is something that we can practice. That a machine can tell us, oh, you should be in awe because everything is so complex and life is complex. But to be able to live it, that's our task, our role, our responsibility. And make the answer that we can give as human race in today's world.
And that's what all the great teachings were about and are about. If you look at any culture, is about presence. And it's about the experience of, because we are interdependent with that systems thinking allows us to see that I'm not here alone. AI can be here alone. If you put AI in a corner by itself and left it there, if you could do that, it's not going to do what we human beings might do if you left us in a corner long enough. You know, we would cry and we would have all these experiences and all these emotions. And there's something about us human beings and us being here on this planet, in this universe, I'm beginning to realize and look at that no other animal and no machine can ever duplicate. And because it brings about something that only we can bring about. And that's not arrogance. That's just, yeah. It's like, and I was just thinking about your little dog, Topi.
Topi.
Yeah.
14 years, my pal.
Your pal, and my pal, whatever.
Yes, your pal.
He come and get in my bed. I said, get out of here. But it was a connection. I don't know if he did that with everyone. I'd like to think that I was special, but it was, you know, what is us human beings connect?
Yeah.
At a deep and fundamental level. And what's happening now, as they say, and I'm listening and watching this, is that we're disconnected with all this other stuff, so we don't see each other. Started out with, we don't feel each other. I can't look and see, you know, this person it's suffering. And that, as I suffer, they suffer. You know, it keeps us human, past being human beings. That's what it is. We are human beings. We're not human doings. And what is being? That's what we study. What is being? Yeah.
But when I hear you, what comes to me is that this level of consciousness can only be preserved in communities that are talking and bringing forth these type of conversations, this type of dialogues. It is like when we usually are in our regular lives, you know, if we are in a consciousness level, let's say there is a building and we're in the first floor, that's what you see right now, the physical, the whatever the immediate things that are happening to us, worries, concerns, this. But as long as if you go up and then you start observing higher and detaching a little bit from the judgments and the noise, then you can see, you can see, have a perspective, a different perspective, and that's why it's so important to create communities and communities of consciousness, no, communities when we can actually talk together in this way. And may I make an announcement, Betty?
Yes, please.
And I would like to invite all of you. I am opening a supervision course we are opening a supervision course in May, and I am convinced that it is worthwhile to come every other week to have a 2-hour conversation about our practice, our coaching practice, and to bring meaning to our coaching practice. So if you are interested, Michelle is going to put some links in there, and reach out to me and see if we can create a group of 8 to 10, no bigger than that, to start to have these conversations that become personal and create a warmth and cozy and professional and challenging community. Thank you, Betty.
Good. That's good. Okay, we have a few more minutes, and also on Saturday, we have our first AI course.
Mm.
And with this, it's a 3-hour course where we're going to explore and look at what is AI and how we can use AI instead of having AI use us. It's just a little backwards. And in this course, you will leave having used AI to design something, because it does design. And you don't have to be a graduate of our school. Come. And the cost is, what did we say it was, with $129, and if you are a graduate, it's 90 something. But don't let money stop you. Please don't let money stop you. This is critical in terms of what we talk about with care. Just like what Anna is doing with supervision is critical. And that's why the violin metaphor was so important, because it takes years to learn how to play the metaphor. To play the violin. Have the ears to listen, because music and dance shapes us. And when we can no longer listen to music, something happens to us. So this community, it's a very powerful community. We learn together, we play together, we cry together, we get mad together, but that's what it is to be human beings. Anna and I don't always agree on everything, but there's enough alignment where we can have Mexico, we can have the United States, we have people here from Malaysia and other places. And so we can learn, and not learn information, but it's learning how to be together with each other and with other people. And I would further say, someone put it there, it's using AI without losing yourself. That's a little tricky to look at. What self are you going to lose? Maybe we get caught up in it. And it's because AI is about performance. Well, culture right now is that you perform, and you perform all the time. And when you perform all the time, you get acknowledgement for that. But there's something more to life than performing. Like we started out with Anna, when you're with your kids or other people, you can just, I'm here. And then something emerges that cannot emerge, that you can never have through all the doing. And we be, do, have. This is something we learn in the transformational trainings. But these are conversations. And in communities, we can have these conversations. So if you have a question in here real quickly, write it in. And I have a question for Anna, question for me, or anything that you want to write, a comment, just put it in the chat. And we teach people how to speak, but we don't teach people how to listen. And listening is the source of our aliveness. It's the source of our care. And learning to listen is tough, I gotta tell you. I'd say that it is, but you can learn how to listen. And in the listening, this is where our lives get disclosed. And as they're being disclosed, we can become shapers of that, which is so magnificent about all of us human beings. I don't care where you are. But did you put anything in there?
I think there is one comment. Let me see, Betty. No.
No?
No comments. A ver.
Yeah. Okay.
No comments. But what I can just add before we finish is that it is so good to see you all. I don't know if you can see Betty who's here, but it is KH, Kyla, Kala, Joyce, Tina, Ana Patricia from Mexico, Maria Lopez, Sally, Aurelie, Adam, and Dwight, Danny. So very, very beautiful community, Pongjen. And for me, it is always a privilege and a pleasure to have a conversation with you, Betty, and to be together, although we have no cameras on, but to be together in this conversation with the community. What we want to do is to nurture our community through these conversations. Betty is leading this project of the coaching shop, and the supervision is also geared towards that, to continue our community through reflections and to become a beautiful coach, and the workshops also. So thank you for being with us together, and it's a pleasure of the soul, I will say, to connect in this way with you, Betty, and with all of you.
Well, thank you, Anna, as always. For 20 some years or longer. And it's taken work. Not hard work, but there is I love you. I love your family. I love, and this, we say it lightly, but like when I step in the elevator and I see some people, there's a sense, wow. And if we can go through life living that way, and see people and say, I see you.
See you, and I am you.
Yeah, and then we began to bring forth on this world the kind of beings that is possible for us to be. But it's also part of the journey. We fall out and we fall in. So to all of you, and to you, Anna, thank you so much. I will see you on Saturday, some of you. I will see you. I'll drop in on the supervision course, not to teach it. That's Anna's thing, but I'll drop in and say hello. And I thank all of you, all of you. You could have been a lot of places tonight, and you're here. And I'm saying now is the time for us to awaken and bring our awakening to so many others. I love you. Thank you. And but we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.